You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in once again to What Women Want Talk Radio. I'm Judy Goss, and I'm here with my co-host, Kristin West, and our show tonight is In Every Kind of Relationship. Finish the sentence. We've asked you to do just that on social media. And of course, everyone responded at the last minute, but that's okay. But we do have some fantastic responses. And our guest tonight, Dr. Dennis Neder, will be letting us in on some of the secrets you may not have thought of to have better relationships, whether it's with your date, your spouse, your kids, your business partners, your pets. If you're listening live right now, tweet us with how you would finish the sentence in every kind of relationship, ... Tag us at What Women Radio, and we will mention you on air, unless, of course, we get hundreds and hundreds of responses. But that would be awesome. We'll mention you next week, too. Or we'll do a blog about it. We're going to bring you Dr. Neder on in just a few minutes. In the meantime, I would like to thank you, our listeners, because after 3 years of airing What Women Want here on LA Talk Radio, we have passed over 750,000 downloads. So I'm enjoying every single show. We hope you are. I know Kristin is too. Some interesting conversations, let me tell you. So if you want to listen to past shows, please go to LA Talk Radio's website archives, latalkradio.com, or subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play if you haven't already. And if you have, thank you. You'll hear some of our celebrity guests who have been with us in the past year, like former O.J. Simpson prosecutor Marcia Clark, 5-time Olympian Jackie Edwards was here with us, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff author Dr. Kristin Carlson, and we just recently had former Today Show anchor Jenna Wolf, and even the co-founder of Guilt stopped by 2 weeks ago to tell us how she built Guilt to become a billion-dollar business in 3 years. So always fascinating conversation, and tonight will be no exception. And with all the social media posts, Kristin, we were trending on mogul.com at one point with your blog, right?
Yes, we were. And I was so excited to see that. We're reaching a huge audience on Mogul. It's a premier platform for women of all ages, but especially millennial women. And I was so excited to see our content really making waves there.
That's right, and I'm not even close to being a millennial woman, but I blog on there, and they are so supportive too of me, and I just adore them. So I was happy to see that we were trending on such a great website. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor tonight, Financial Education Services. If you're motivated and have the drive to achieve success, then they have the perfect career opportunity for you. Financial Education Services offers a range of services to meet the needs of various people throughout your community at all stages of life. At FES, they've combined the flexibility of working for yourself with the stability and management of a business, which has already been established and achieved success. You don't need to invest a bunch of money, store inventory, or even learn the technology behind their advanced financial programs. You just need to learn, you just need the motivation and the work ethic. So if you're interested, please email L.R. McCain, that's L.R. M as in Mary, CCAIN, at AOL.com for this unique career opportunity. All right, so it sounds like some people can take advantage of that. A little bit about my background. Besides being the host of this awesome radio show, I'm also a TV host, a regular contributor on NBC and Fox. I've been on Saturdays on Fox on Ernie and Asta's new show, Fox New York, at 5:30 p.m. as a lifestyle expert, and I'm an entrepreneur. I founded the nationally acclaimed What Women Want networking group 5.5 years ago with several live chapters spanning from coast to coast. I am a St. Martin's Press author and freelance writer for New York Lifestyles magazine. And the most important job of all, I am the mom of twin girls who are going to be 13 next month. And it's just amazing. What Women Want Networking, the same name as our show, What Women Want, is having our first national women's conference called Spirit of Women in Atlanta. I'm so excited. October 7th through 8th. spiritofwomenconference.com. You should join us. It's featuring VIP sponsor Women for One. The founder of Women for One, Kelly McNellis, has millions of subscribers on our website and is running a workshop along with Revenue Breakthroughs money expert Monica Shaw and the founder of SoulJourneys.ca, Jennifer Longmore. Exciting stuff. And we're also thrilled to have psychotherapist to the stars and award-winning TV reporter Dr. Robbie Ludwig. She's been on the show a few times. She is coming in from New York City as a keynote speaker to the conference. So if you're interested in more info, please go to spiritofwomenconference.com. I heard there are early bird tickets on sale till July 15th, so you may want to check that out. Okay, let's talk about Kristin West, my co-host. Kristin is an award-winning actress and producer. Her film Seeking Valentina has just been announced as an official selection at the Hollywood Dreams Film Festival in Las Vegas. Yay! She can also be seen in the upcoming films Sound, The Spirit Room, and Hell's Kitty, all due out later this year. Congratulations, Kristin.
Thank you so much, Judy. I'm really excited. And Judy, I've got to tell you something. I owe you a quick apology. I've been really klutzy on this soundboard, so you were mute for a little bit, and I've got you back on live now, and Dina's helped me solve the problem. But if you haven't been hearing Judy, it is all my fault.
Do you need me to start anything? Say anything again?
No, I think we're good, actually.
Okay. All right. So, Kristin, we're talking about relationships here. And I said in the beginning, in case you didn't get it, that you can tweet at What Woman Radio and finish the sentence in every kind of relationship, ... So in every kind of relationship, we have what? All kinds of stuff. The answers posted today on Facebook and Twitter and all over the place were so fascinating. Yours was, in every kind of relationship, there's expectations and assumptions. What do you mean by that?
Well, there are expectations and assumptions of how we're supposed to behave in relationships. When you're married, you're supposed to wear a wedding ring. What happens if you don't? Your partner may not like you anymore. We have roles that we play in others' lives, and sometimes when the role we're asked to play doesn't cohere with our behavior, that can create pain or anger in a relationship.
So you can't have too many expectations and too many assumptions, right?
Right. And sometimes you have to negotiate expectations as well and renegotiate expectations if there's, a major life change.
Right, that's true. And I'm sure Dr. Neder is going to help us with that too. Another one was from Lisa Brantley, who said, in every kind of relationship, we give without remembering and receive without forgetting. I thought that was interesting. Lisa is a stylist who carries lines from the Carlisle collection and Sandra Cadavid. I hope I said that right. Thank you, Lisa, for responding. I imagine that would be an ideal answer for a good relationship, right? You can tell Lisa's a positive thinker.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that was eye-opening what she was sharing, and I'm glad that she chimed in on the conversation.
Absolutely. So let's bring on Dr. Neder, because I'm so excited to hear what he has to say about all this.
Absolutely. I found, I was researching him earlier, and he's done over 2,500 shows, from Dr. Phil, Ricky Lake, The Today Show, and thousands of others. He has over 30 years of success in the worlds of business, dating, sex and relationships, sales and marketing, psychology, sociology, and human interactions. And that gives Dr. Neder a unique perspective on men's relationships with women and on women in general. In addition to starting and building a number of successful businesses, he's also held positions on numerous boards, commissions, and committees. And he was a commissioner for the County of Los Angeles and has proven his dating and relationship techniques in the toughest markets around the world. Welcome to the show, Dr. Neder.
Hey, lady, thank you so much for having me. What a thrill. I just love doing this show.
Oh, my gosh. We are so happy to have you back, and we're just going to have you back more and more because I miss you.
Well, the answer is always yes. So whatever you need, whatever you need. In a sample of my brain tissue, you got it. Whatever it is.
So tell us a little bit about what you do. I mean, I've interviewed you a few times, and you've been on the show. You have so many aspects to your business, and of course, we always have new listeners. So if you could just tell us a little bit about what your main gig is.
Yeah, the joys of ADD. Let me tell you. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started a number of companies, and we actually have a brand new company called Rank that we're launching actually right now this month. We're in full-on scamper mode, getting all these together on that one. We're excited about. But in addition, I've written 16 books, 4 of which are bestsellers, all about dating, sex, and relationships. Have my own show, of course, lots of TV and radio. Gosh, I've done, I don't know, thousands and thousands of hours of that. We've had shows syndicated in both the East and West Coast. We have a reality show that's in development. I've got a script that we're working on, et cetera, things like that. So a lot of stuff in the entertainment world. I do a lot of these kinds of speaking gigs, of course, with radio and TV as expert and guest, and sometimes the person to beat on, and that often happens too. So
I can't imagine why.
I love talking about relationships and sex and dating. It's just such a fascinating industry, man. I'll tell you.
That's funny. You have the perfect voice for radio, that's for sure. So we had a lot of interesting.
Radio too. Yeah.
What's that? No, that's not true. Come on now. You have your face up on our radio show JPEG, and I think it's gorgeous. So stop that.
Oh,
a handsome guy. No, totally.
Look at me fishing for compliments, huh?
You what?
Look at me fishing for compliments, huh?
Yeah, you're a therapist. What about that? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've answered over 50,000 letters from my viewers and readers and listeners over the years. I mean, literally on every aspect of dating, sex, relationships you can think of, and from every place in the world. And this is the most interesting thing I found. It doesn't matter whether I get a letter from Japan or from Czechoslovakia or Canada or Australia or anywhere else in the world. We have the same problems wherever we are. It's all the same thing, which to me was fascinating. Now, why would it all be the same? You think that, our cultures are so different, but the reality is our cultures are all built on the same rules of dating, sex, relationships, ultimately. And that's why we all have a common thread of experience among everybody. It's amazing.
That is amazing. And it's quite fascinating that it doesn't differ from, country to country or continent to continent. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be some major. I mean, there's some kind of really low level. Here's an example. There's a community in South America, a very small little community, where on Saturdays all the men and women gather in the main square, and there's a big fountain there, and all the women on the get together on the inside, and they all walk around in a circle, going one direction. All the guys on the outside, they walk around in another circle, and they kind of make eye contact and stuff, and that's how they begin dating in that community. So that's a different thing. We don't see a lot of that in Los Angeles, for an example.
People walking around eyeing each other.
We do
I've seen it.
Not in a circle around a fountain, But so that's an aspect, and things like even arranged marriages is really an interesting issue. It's interesting actually. There's more arranged marriages in the United States than there are in India. Isn't that weird?
Get the heck out of here.
No, I won't. You can make me.
I could hang up on you, but I'm not going to do that. No, wait a minute. What do you mean? Exactly. I can't get rid of you. What do you mean arranged? Wait, I didn't even think we had that in this country. Here I am, looking at my Twitter posts and reading all these responses, and all of a sudden I'm putting down the phone, going, "Wait, what? Huh? Tell me."
What did that guy say? It's really weird. Of course, we always think about arranged marriage. Arranged marriages were very popular in Japan and in China, in India, and many other kinds of cultures have that kind of an arranged marriage thing. But the reality is, there are more people who have brought that culture to the United States as immigrants than are actually doing it in the countries that where they come from. And there's a couple of reasons why. A lot of those countries are becoming more westernized. They're looking at Western culture and trying to adopt features of Western culture and kind of get rid of what they consider to be outdated or old. But a lot of people want to bring those cultures with them, and they carry them here. And the sense of keeping their culture alive was a big part of that. I mean, I actually have friends who have arranged marriages for their children. I know it's being done. It's really an odd thing, and you think in this day and age that should just go away, but it's really not.
Yeah, no, that is fascinating. I want to read a couple of the responses because we asked people to finish the sentence in every kind of relationship, and we put it out on Twitter and out on Facebook, and we told people, if they responded that we'd mention them and perhaps their businesses if they wrote down their business, and we got some interesting responses. So Pamela Horton from Sarasota. She said, in every kind of relationship, the other person is a perfect barometer for how you are or are not showing up in your own life. president of Maven's Connections, offering employee enhancement benefits. Okay. In every kind of relationship, the other person is a perfect barometer of how you are or are not showing up in your own life.
Well, the barometric pressure is high.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
You look at that person across the table for in the morning, and if that doesn't tell you where your life is or what you're doing, then you're not paying attention. That's really true.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. That's a very insightful one. And Jill Morgan Meek from Big Thinkers, in every kind of relationship, be genuine, be trustworthy, and take the time to listen to what others have to say. Actually, someone else said that too. In every kind of relationship, you need to listen or something like that. I mean, that's a good point. You got to listen. So, where is that one? Let me see.
Yeah, I like that sentence, but I want to add one more thing to it. Learn to listen with the other person's voice in mind. In other words, if I say a thing and you hear a thing, they often are different things. And the hardest thing to do is to hear what you're saying and the way you're saying it. What do you mean by that? What motivates you to say that, and why would you say that? And by the way, what does it mean to me? That's important too, but in your voice.
Oh, I see. Here it's Lucy Brummett said, in every kind of relationship, there's an opportunity to be a good listener. That's from lulalucy.com. There's an opportunity to be a good listener if you take it. Right, Kristin?
Right. And you have to be an active listener, you have to be willing to receive. And when you say, I don't want to hear it anymore, or I've heard that a million times, that's not being, an active listener. And hearing, there's hearing and there's listening, and you have to be in a place of reception to get the message. And I think there's also, I agree with Bruce B. Gordon of Bruce Gordon Media. He responded to me that in every relationship there's give and take. So there's constant sending and receiving of communication.
I said in every relationship there's compromise. Is that negative?
No, that's fantastic. That's a great attitude. And everything like that should be compromised. I always think about relationships in terms of win-win. So if we have in a relationship, I want to think, how can I make things better for you so I can get what I want? A lot of people do it the other way around. They say, how can you make things better for me? And if you do, then I'll see if I'm making it better for you. That's the wrong way to go about it.
What do you think of that, Kristin?
Well, I totally agree, and I know Yolanda Brinkley of Diversity at Cannes Film Festival agrees, because when she responded to me, she also said compromise. And sometimes compromise, I think, is very closely related to adapting. So sometimes we have to adapt to our partner's needs as they arrive, and hopefully, if they're a good and decent person with their heart in the right place, they adapt to our needs as well as they evolve and change, because we're not the same every day. One day you're well, next day you're sick. One day you're rich, the next day you're poor. We're constantly changing. Do you find that couples have problems with that, Dr. Neder, where they're challenged by changes that they did not expect?
Wow, that's a really great question, Kristin, and here's why it's so great. The reality is that the time that your relationship grows the most is when you have turmoil. When things are good, anybody can do that. When you're happy, when you're having fun, and then sex is good, and you guys are, you're a couple, and you're there, you're secure. That's easy. Anybody can do that. It's when there are problems, and what people generally do when there's an argument or a fight of some sort is they tend to stop doing all the things they did when they first got together. It's like if let's say we start a relationship today, I'm going to be trying to show you that I care about you. I'm going to tell you I care about you. I'm going to make you feel like I care about you, so I want you to feel good. I'm going to hit all of those modalities, right, to try and express to you in as many ways as possible how I feel about you. But when we get angry, the very first thing we do is revert back to us. It's about me. I'm hurt. I'm angry. What I want, what I think, etc. And we try to argue from that standpoint, which is literally impossible. The reason that you tend to be with people you are is because in that communication form, they often are opposite of your modality, whatever we call a primary modality is. The other person tends to be the other way. And so when you speak and when you get angry, you revert to your way rather than the other way around. And so what he's really getting at is exactly that. you have to listen to that other person in their way, and you got to stop yourself and say, look, as hard as this is, as much as it burns me to go ahead and do this, I've got to listen to what you say and try to understand it from your standpoint. And if I can do that, and if I can actively listen and come back and say, here's what I said or I heard you say, and you agree that's what it is, all right, well, God, now we have common ground to solve the problem. Until that happens, no common ground.
And that brings me to a comment that Annie Jacoby said. She's a life coach in Santa Clarita, California. Be present, kind, honest, and compassionate. We never know what another person is going through, and that is so true. Someone can look like something on the outside and act like, something else, and we just never know, what's happening inside those brains. It's very complicated, as you know, Dr. Neder, and I think we do forget that sometimes, that, some people don't have the perfect life, if you look at them, and it just could be really muddled inside of what's going on, either behind closed doors or even in their head, right?
So true. And you also don't know all their history. You could spend 50 years with a person and not know every aspect of their history. They're building it every day. So that all comes into play too. And sometimes you just have to simply say, maybe I can't understand where you are. That's okay too. So let's find a way we can make things work with what we have to work with, what I do know about you, and what I and what maybe you can let me know about. Maybe you feel comfortable enough about. People talk about trust in relationships. Here's my thing: nobody can make you trust them. I don't care who they are. If you don't already trust yourself to make good decisions, when people say, "Well, I just don't trust you anymore," what they're really saying to you, and you should always hear this, is, "I don't trust myself to make good decisions about what you're going to do." I can't help you with that. I want you to trust me, but so I'm going to try and give you tools to do it, but you've got to take the step to make it happen. And that does play to your background and your experience and things that maybe I don't know. Certainly tell me about them. And I'm always open to hearing what's going on and why you feel the way you do. But I also understand I can't know your history like you do because you've already lived it. And so we have to work with that understanding as a gap.
I think that's fascinating because it always reflects on the person who's doing the speaking. Like you said, the barometer, the person who's sitting there at the breakfast table. People bring in all of this tremendous baggage to the relationship. How do we know at what point to share our baggage? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is there a timeline, or is it an intuitive thing?
When to show our real colors?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Here's my attitude about it. Ultimately, if you're with somebody that you even like a little bit, I think it's a good idea to be open and honest about things. Now, I want to talk about honesty in a second. I'm not talking about the idea, well, let's just be totally honest, because that's impossible. It's a lie. Nobody can actually do that. And then it becomes another battle where somebody's late coming home and, well, you lied to me about not coming home on time. Well, then it's a ridiculous issue. You can't possibly deal with it. But the other side of the coin is, ultimately, the more you know about me, frankly, this is part of my arrogance, the more you're going to love me. So I want you to know all those things. I mean, I've had bad times, I've had great times, and you should know that, and that's okay. I'm not afraid to let you know. I want to be an open book. And I also want you to do the same thing. And if there are times when you feel that you've got to, hold up the thing and say, okay, well, I can't tell you that, I can accept that too. And I know there's something about that aspect of your life that is really painful to you that you have not worked through yet. Mm-hmm. So it's not my job in the relationship to be your therapist. It's my job to be your partner.
Okay.
So when you're ready to work through them, let me know.
So this maybe segues into what Beth Ann Phillips from California said. She's a rep for doTERRA Essential Oils. And she said, in every kind of relationship, everyone needs to own 100%. 100% of the good and 100% of the bad. The tendency to place blame is a major plague in relationships. And taking complete responsibility for your actions, you create space for them to take responsibility of their own. And taking responsibility is contagious, smiley face.
Oh, that's nice. And it is to be, it's all about me.
Yeah. And I think that's the longest response we had, but I think she's got a point there. I mean, you have to own 100%, not just of the relationship, but of who you are coming into it. Dennis, we've talked about this many times on the show. It starts from the inside.
True that. A lot of people come to relationships with a lot of mental problems. If you're starting to date, if you're dating right now.
But don't we all have mental problems? I mean, really, we had to, we all have issues. I mean, maybe I'm giving myself away.
No, well, yeah, the reality is we all come with baggage and what have you, and that's not what I'm talking about. If you have actual mental issues, and a lot of people actually do, they're still emotionally damaged from the last relationship that they're in, or they have real significant problems with their parents or their friends or family or whatever. Those things you have to deal with, and it's not your lover's job to fix those problems for you. You've got to do it before you get in the relationship. On the other hand, I mean, people can be generous and even magnanimous about it, and care and want to be with that person. But as therapists, we know you cannot possibly do any reasonable amount of therapy with somebody you're close with. You just can't do it. It's not a healthy way to approach it. You got to come with the baggage dealt with.
Kristin, do you have any other comments or posts of anybody else that's
I do.
said anything profound?
Well, profound and interesting. Everybody had such interesting stuff to contribute to this dialogue. But Maurice Dwayne Smith, who's a publicist, said that passion is the key ingredient for a relationship. So when the passion is not so passionate, what do we do, Dr. Neder?
And I love this topic. I mean, here's why I love this. He's right. Think about this. How many, especially when you're little girls, he says, oh, no, take it slow and, kind of work. That is the exact opposite of passion. Passion is about excitement, about thrill, and we all want to lead lives of passion. That's we're built that way. For you to try and put things off so that everything is nice and safe and easy gets you nowhere. And the first thing it does is kill passion. So that can never be an answer. If you really if you're serious about having a quality relationship, you often do have to jump in with both feet. Now, I say that with the attitude that you also have to have some knowledge behind you, some experience or something behind you to protect it. And that comes from an internal thing too, knowing that I can take the problems when they come, and that I'll be okay. That's an important component here. If you don't think you're okay, then that's another mental issue you've got to work with. But yeah, passion is so critical. In fact, here's an interesting thing. I've done this study with over 40,000 units in my data set. And this has been done that I know of 4 times around the world, and it always comes up with the same bits of information. The reality is, when you think about either love or sex as just an individual issues, which is most important in a relationship?
Well, hopefully they go together.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm silent because I'm trying to think.
Well, the romantics in us always want to say love.
Right.
But the reality is,
you have to have one to go with the other, no?
Well, people have sex without love all the time. People fall in love and have no sex.
Most important in a relationship.
Well, see, we're talking about every kind of relationship.
Just
there are many relationships.
Sex is not a relationship to me. Just having sex, there's nothing wrong with it, but that's not a relationship.
Well, it's a kind of relationship. In fact, if we're going to talk about every kind of relationship, there are many, many formats of relationships. It's like, people talk about, well, I want to get married. Why? Well, because I want to be married. Well, but that's not a relationship. That's a format for a relationship. So is living together, and so is living alone, dating exclusively, so is dating non-exclusively, or open relationships, or relationships with pets, or whatever. They're all different kinds of relationships. There are many, many relationships that are sexless that have great love. And there are many relationships that have no love that are completely sex-oriented. But I say that to say, first of all, nature is a funny thing. Nature kind of gives us the answer. Nature doesn't give a damn whether you fall in love or not, but it does give a damn whether you reproduce or not. That's about the sexuality part. Everything we do, all of our energy, all of our motivation. I mean, ultimately, I love saying this, We are life support systems for our genitalia. That's really what we are, because passing our genes on is what our kind does, our species does, and that's all that nature really cares about.
Now you're talking about the currency of the universe.
That's right. And you know what? It is getting hot outside. It is getting hot outside, and it is almost summertime. It's getting really close. And Dr. Neder, I hear through the internet that you are the king of the summer fling. How do we have one? I am asking for a friend.
Let me tell you. Summer flings are great, because first of all, you know there's a boundary to them. You know that it's kind of it's not about long term. You're not trying to get married. You're not trying to find your lifelong partner. You're finding your next partner, and somebody you can share a great passion, great experience, great excitement, great fun with right now. It may turn into something later on, and often does, but that's not the goal. So, yeah, what you're doing right now is you're looking for that person that you can actually kind of get to know really quick and really fast. And they're all over the place. You've got to get out and do it. And, of course, we wear, fewer clothes, which helps a lot. And, we're more open to people. And we're out, going to barbecues and parties and, dances and all that stuff, having fun. So there's lots of opportunity to do that. Summer flings are fantastic. Highly recommend them.
Interesting.
By the way, if I can let me give you my in every kind of relationship. Mine is, I always lose my favorite shirt. Now, let me explain that. This is true. I've never been in a relationship where, for some reason, I didn't just wind up losing my favorite shirt. Every time. I've been through more shirts and relationships, but I don't know why that is.
Okay, now that sounds like the premise of a movie right there.
There you go. I lost my shirt in my last relationship.
You better get that one registered with WGA tomorrow, Dr. Neder, okay?
I like where we're going with this thing. So you buy your new shirt knowing you're going to lose it because you're looking for the relationship for the summer fling or whatever.
Yeah, but think what that shirt could represent. It could represent money. It could represent, trust. It could represent, so many things. If you made a movie out of this, Kristin, right?
Oh, it could totally be, a shirt. It could be a shirt with special magical powers. And Judy, great pun there. Literally losing the shirt, losing money.
Yeah, I don't think you're talking just about your shirt sometimes.
No, it's definitely allegorical.
How true.
Allegorical. Well, now that I know at least or have an inkling from my friend about summer flings, I want to bring up another important topic that you really drive home on all the articles I've read of yours, and it's about knowing what you bring to the table. How do we know what we bring to the table? It's not enough to be attractive, is it, Dr. Neder?
Well, you go talk to Dr. Neder. He'll tell you.
Yes.
Exactly. Just come over and I'll tell you exactly. No, this is really important. I teach my students this too. First dates are all about like an interview, right? They really are. And if you treat them properly, you should be able to answer certain questions about that person as to whether they fit your goals and your needs or whatever. But one of the questions that I teach my students to ask is, so what do you bring to the table? And some people go, oh my God, that's so forward. Well, yeah, it is forward. That's okay. We're getting this out of the way now. And you should know what you bring to the table as well. And it's often hard to do that because a lot of people say, well, I don't know, I'm pretty. Yeah, well, I live here in LA, and you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a pretty girl. So that's not enough. There's got to be more to it, I mean,
I told you, Kristin, you were going to have fun with this one.
Oh, this is the one of those meetings we should do a whole show about. I love this topic. So I know what I bring. In relationship with me, first of all, I'm a lot of fun. I'm really a bunch of fun. I've got great friends. I know a lot of people and do a lot of things. I've got a very wide experience of things that I'm interested in, which is kind of fun. But I'm also like a sponge. I absorb other experiences. I want to know what you do and what's important to you and what terrifies you and what makes you sad and all those things. And let's explore those things. That's really cool too. I have that capacity in that I've worked on it in my life and something I can bring to other people. And that's something you should answer yourself too. What makes you unique? Why would you date you, Kristin? Why would you date you?
I am very adventurous in many different areas of life. And I'm brave too. I mean, there's more.
Boldness is such a huge key. Being adventurous and being open to possibilities, even to failure, is a great component to a good relationship. You know,
it's true.
Talk about passion. No,
I have that in spades, and I also have a good sense of reality as well, and that has carried me through a lot of challenging circumstances in my life. And one thing that I find that I have been just really excited to pick your brain about is, and I don't know if this is a younger guy.
Is this about you or your friend?
This is about a friend.
Not a friend. I see quotation marks around this. Go ahead.
Right. There's a friend of mine who sometimes has been broken up with because she's too intimidating. What is that in guy speak? I'm really curious to know.
Let me explain that. First of all, I want to tell you, let's be honest here. Guys are not intimidated by your friend.
Uh-huh.
This is how your friend describes the reason why they broke up with her. But that's not the real reason. It's like people, you hear this all the time. They say, well, guys are intimidated by successful women or by women who make more money. That's bullshit. That's just not true. The reality is, I've talked to guys all over the world, and we're not focused on that at all. Now, again, some guys, if they're personally insecure about things, which, by the way, is its own kind of little mental illness, right? We talked about dealing with mental illnesses earlier. If they're insecure, then that can be a problem if you're dealing with insecure people. I'm talking about people who are self-normalized, that are kind of okay about things. They are not intimidated by women. Trust me. But the question then is, so why is your friend not able to keep the relationship together, and she feels that it's an intimidation factor? What led her to that belief? And maybe fixing that is the real issue.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I will let my friend know to tune in to this broadcast to get the help she needs. It's just funny because a lot of women think about that, and especially when they're successful women. And Judy and I have this parade of successful women in week after week, and so much of, am I ever going to find the right mate because I'm, intimidating or too successful or too this or too that, too bright, too articulate, too whatever nice adjective you want to come up with. I think.
Sorry for cutting you off, but I hear you going in a direction I want to explore real quickly.
Let's do that.
Keep in mind that there's a difference between right now. There's this big thing being made about the independent woman, right? What I call the independent woman syndrome. Now think about this. You as a human being, not as a woman or a talk radio host or any of that. Do you really want to be with some guy that just doesn't care about whether you're there or not? He's so independent, he doesn't give a shit. Is that the guy you want to be with? Or do you want to be with a guy that really is concerned about, are you okay? What do you do? He's concerned about you personally too, right?
I'm a big fan of
women think that men want to be with independent women? We don't. I tell women all this. Take this off of your profile. If you've got an online profile and you're trying to date, they always put independent. Take that off immediately. Get rid of it. That's the worst thing you can say in a relationship. No, you are not independent. They think it means the opposite of being codependent. It doesn't. It means being aloof and unconcerned and uninterested and cold and whatever. Let me tell you what you probably want to be. How about interdependent?
Right.
How about we get together and let's find out what your skills are. And I'll take advantage of your skills and I'll bring my skills to the table. You can take advantage of mine. Let's be interdependent together. Isn't that a better way to think?
I think so. I think that's sexier too because
you bet.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally true. And I think it's a healthier pattern of relating, definitely. I mean, I think one thing too is people get socialized into thinking, oh, I have to be an ice princess for anybody to respect me. And we're mostly talking about romantic relationships here because, let's face it, that's what, the sexy stuff is what people care about. But, it's true in business too. You don't always have to be an ice queen or, just the Lone Rangerette out there plugging away and not needing the advice or input of other people. It's foolish. We wouldn't do that in business, or at least a smart person wouldn't, not to get the...
Well, so that's funny you're talking about that, because I was going to ask about what the difference is about nurturing business relationships as opposed to, personal relationships. There must be a certain, way that it's the similar things that we can do, right, to keep those going, to build those, and
Boy, are you really, this is so important. I think people have lost this perspective, Years ago, friends would get together and start businesses. Now, opponents get together and start businesses. And they know that there's going to come sometime down the road, they're going to battle for power or money or control or status or visibility, whatever it is. They know it's going to happen. They just want to try to get there as quickly as possible so they can walk away if they need to. But the reality is that's not any kind of business to form. I'm really, really lucky. You talk about, I'm a lucky man. It does not suck to be Dr. Dennis, let me tell you. Because like my partners for my new company are great people. I mean, these are really amazing people. I've got the most amazing respect for these people. And they're great friends. And I honestly care about whether they're happy and whether their families are good. And I really focus on those things because these are really important people to me. Not just because we have a business together, because they are good, important friends. Wouldn't it be great to build a business with your best friend? I mean, why would you ever start a relationship with somebody who could not be your best friend, let alone a business relationship? When especially when the problems come, now all of a sudden it's the thing of being at odds. If you are competitors in your own company, then the odds come. If you're not competitors, then you're working towards a solution with a team member, and that's a different way to live, and a different way to love, for that matter, too.
So I finally thought of the word I was trying to think, the common thread here, to maintain those relationships, to strengthen them, to nurture them. You want to do the same types of things, right? I mean, you want to make sure that you listen to the other side and you come to the table knowing what you have and what they have, and knowing that there's going to be compromise and all that. Is there anything in a business relationship that we wouldn't necessarily do in a personal and vice versa? Besides the sex thing.
One thing we tend to do in business relationships, we always tend to be self-protecting. We don't go into negotiations or even meetings thinking, what can I do to make your situation the best it could be? We think, what can I do to protect myself the most? That's generally how people do business today. But when you work with your friends, people you care about, you start thinking, wait a minute, it's not about my ego. It's about what can I do to make sure that my friend is okay and that he's going to get what he needs. Because, if I do that enough and he believes it or she believes it, she's going to turn around and do the same for me. Because ultimately we are that kind of magnanimous kind of, investor personalities. We're all that way. We care about people who care about us. And that's where businesses fail today. If you look at great partnerships around the world, of these companies that just dissolved. I mean, I always like to go back to the Apple example. You had Stephen Jobs and Steve Wozniak, who built the very first Apple machine, and Woz was the tech guy, and Jobs was the sales guy. Ultimately, when it came out, Stephen Jobs was about himself. He really was. He even got a deal. They had an agreement to split any revenues half and half, and they had a deal where he brought in some early revenue of $100,000 and told his party he only got $7,500 and gave him $3,500 or whatever it was of it. That kind of stuff. That's why you don't see their partnership dissolved almost immediately. Now other people kind of came in and grabbed onto the coattails of Stephen Jobs, but the reality was, think about where that company would have been if you'd had that kind of innovator that continued on through. I mean, Apple's a great company. There's no doubt about it, and they have a great product, but they are just one of another huge technology companies like Google and Microsoft and other ones out there. They could have owned the market if you'd had that partnership, in my opinion, together.
So you're saying if they would have known how to really cultivate that relationship into something that was on a different level, on a higher level, instead of just what's in it for me.
I like to use the term to the highest and best benefit. What can I do that will be to the highest and best benefit of my partners, my friends, my clients, my vendors, that sort of thing? If you think in those terms, and that is your motivation for the choices you make, you're rarely going to be wrong. Now, imagine if you do that in a relationship. Imagine if you think, what can I do the highest and best benefit of my husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's a different way of loving.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, I'm always trying to think of how I can make my husband smile, because I know if he smiles, he's going to be happy, and then he's just going to try to make me happy because, and I notice when there's pushback and he's not happy, then I don't necessarily get treated how I would, like to be treated, which, and it just really shows that how I act bounces right off of him, because I'm a little bit more of the fiery one. And, we probably wouldn't argue ever if it weren't for me, but we hardly do argue. And a lot of times I'll just be sitting there arguing by myself and he won't get involved. But, it's just, but I can see when he does react, I'm like thinking to myself, well, why am I doing this? Because if I turned it around, like he would really react, in a better way. So there's a lesson to be learned there in business and in personal. And Dr. Neder, you have so many great things to say and so many things to teach us. I do have to have you on soon again, because it's just so much fun to be on air with you.
As I said, the answer is always yes.
I love it. That's great. So tell us what website, you want to put out there and where to go to find you and anything that's, coming up that you want people to know about. Let us know.
Yeah, well, certainly, of course, my books are out there. Being a Man in a Woman's World, that the entire series is out there. But I'll tell you what I really want to pitch is this new company we're very excited about called Rankopedia. You talk about applying the things we just talked about to a business model. What we're doing is we're creating the ability for companies to tell their stories in a great way about what they do and how they do it, and let you as a consumer find the companies that match what you want and the way you want it. I mean, it's a simple idea. Why hasn't anybody thought about this? Rankopedia.com. We're starting off with healthcare, and we're going to be expanding into other industries as well. So we're very, very excited about it.
Oh, that is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Now, is this something we can find on the internet right now? The website's launched. You're off and running.
It's open and ready for people to come look. Rankopedia.com with an I.
Oh, that is terrific. And we'll put that on the LA Talk Radio website too. Rankopedia.com. Awesome. Thank you so much again for, sitting here and answering all our questions and infusing us with your wisdom and telling us really how to, have the best personal and business relationships. And we didn't get to talk about pets, Kristin, but I guess we can save that for another show.
I guess I'll have to bring Mercury into the studio for that one and talk to him.
We can get a pet. We can book a pet psychic on for that show and have Dr. Neder come on and see what he thinks of that one.
Ooh, that'd be exciting. I'd like that.
Yeah, I think I put you on with a tarot card reader or something once, didn't I? Or some sort of psychic or something. Yeah, you're always fantastic with whoever we pair you with. But it was exciting to have you on the show again tonight. So thank you again. And next week, for everyone else, we're going to have another fascinating show. It's all here on LA Talk Radio, or go to whatwomenwantradio.com for more info. And thank you for listening. Good night, everyone.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.